All right, let's talk about a man with one of the most powerful nicknames in history, the Punjab Kesari, the Lion of Punjab. His name was Lala Lajpat Rai, and his roar, well, it would become a defining sound in India's long fight for freedom.
Okay, I want you to picture this. It's Lahore, 1928. There are thousands of people on the streets, all part of a peaceful demonstration. You can hear the chanting, you can see the banners, they're making their voices heard. The air is absolutely thick with tension, though. And this peaceful moment, it's about to be shattered.
So, what was this massive protest even about? Well, it was against something called the Simon Commission. Now get this, the British government decided to send a group over to figure out India's political future, but the entire commission was made up of white British members. Not a single Indian voice was included. I mean, can you even imagine the level of outrage? It was a total slap in the face.
And right at the very center of that storm, leading the charge, was our guy, the Lion of Punjab himself. So that begs the question, right? Who was this man really? And why did this one single day, this one final stand, become the stuff of legend?
Well, to understand the man, we gotta go back to the beginning. Let's explore how he became the leader he was.
He was born back in 1865 in Punjab, and you could say learning was in his blood. His dad was a scholar, and that passion for knowledge really stuck with him. Then, in college, he got incredibly inspired by a reformer named Swami Dayanand Saraswati and jumped into the Arya Samaj movement. He actually went on to become a really successful lawyer, but his heart just wasn't in it. His real passion, his true calling, was serving the nation.
So, okay, we've seen his beliefs. Now let's talk about what he did. Because this guy wasn't just about talk. He was a man of action, a builder. And the things he built would literally change the game for the freedom struggle.
He was part of this legendary trio, kind of like a political supergroup of their time, known as Lal, Bal, Pal. That's him alongside Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal. Together, these three completely changed the vibe of the freedom movement. They brought in this more assertive, more self-reliant energy. They were basically saying, we're done waiting around. And he was right there in the middle of it, navigating all the different approaches, from the more moderate to the, well, let's say more extreme.
And this right here is so crucial to understanding him. He wasn't just a protester. He was a builder. For him, it wasn't enough to just say no to the British. He had a vision for what India should say yes to. He knew that real freedom, political freedom, meant nothing if you weren't economically independent too.
Which leads us to a really important year in his mission, 1895.
So, in 1895, what did he do? He co-founded the Punjab National Bank. And look, this wasn't just opening another bank. This was a revolutionary act. Think about it, a major bank funded entirely by Indians for Indians. The whole goal was to support Indian businesses, to give them a fighting chance and to start chipping away at the financial control the British had. This was economic self-reliance made real.
And the man was just relentless. His activism didn't just stay in India, it went global. In 1907, the British got so fed up with him, they deported him to Burma. You think that stopped him? Not a chance. A few years later, in 1914, he's in the United States, founding the Indian Home Rule League of America, telling the world what was happening back home. Then he comes back to India, and by 1920, he's elected president of the Indian National Congress. I mean, his influence was just undeniable.
And that brings us right back where we started, back to that protest in Lahore in 1928. But now we know who the man at the front of that crowd really was. We understand the weight he carried.
So during that peaceful protest, the police, led by a British officer, just unleashed a brutal lathi charge, that's a baton charge, on the unarmed crowd. And Lala Lajpat Rai, being the leader he was right at the front. He was targeted, he was severely beaten, and just a few weeks later, on November 17th, he died from those injuries.
But his last words, they were chillingly prophetic. He said, "The blows struck at me today will be the last nails in the coffin of British rule in India." And those words, they would catch fire and spread across the entire country. So, was that it? Was his death the end of his story? Absolutely not.
In fact, in many ways, it was a new beginning. Let's talk about the incredible legacy he left behind. You see, his death wasn't an endpoint. No, it was the spark that would ignite a raging fire in the hearts of a whole new generation.
And this is where the British made a huge miscalculation. Their goal? Simple. Silence a major leader, scare the protesters into submission. But what actually happened? The complete opposite. His death didn't create fear, it created rage. It inspired a wave of young revolutionaries, including, most famously, a man named Bhagat Singh, who made it his mission to avenge the Lion of Punjab.
So when you look back, his legacy is just immense. He was a visionary leader, sure, planting those seeds of courage and self-respect. He was also a brilliant writer and thinker. You can still read his books like Unhappy India today. But more than anything, he became a symbol, a torchbearer whose life was just this incredible example of fearless, unwavering patriotism.
So the story of Lala Lajpat Rai really leaves us with a big question. He was a torchbearer for his nation's freedom, and he paid the highest price for it. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? In our own lives, today, what does it even mean to be a torchbearer for something you truly believe in? What cause would you carry the torch for?